Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here with another episode of Total Breakdown. We've got another fantastic tournament battle from the Warhammer Fantasy League with the Beastmen of Pippington taking the field against the Tomb Kings of Migza. If you'd like to stay up to date with the tournament and live casts, make sure you check out the link in the description down below. We begin, of course, with talk of composition and deployment, and both sides trying some pretty interesting things over here. Let's start with the Beastmen. They are led by none other than Morga the Shadowgave on foot, assisted by a Bray Shaman of Shadows atop his chariot. The front line consists of these 4 units of Goreherd with shields, using their bronze shields to stay protected from range fire, while right behind them on either flank we have the Ungor Spearman herd, protecting against any constructs or cavalry that might come in for flanking maneuvers. All the way up front, we have these 3 units of Senegor with throwing axes, able to fire away and get some early damage done from range, while back here, these 2 units of Minotaurs with great weapons are an excellent choice, armor-piercing, anti-large. They'll have a nice time shutting down constructs, and then all the way at the far corner of this map, you can see we've got 2 Senegor units tucked away in the trees, able to come in with some nice rear charges if the enemy has any ranged units. Then, the Tomb Kings themselves are led by also none other than Arkan the Black. He is in charge on foot, and he brings with him a couple of constructs in the form of the Tomb Scorpion, the Hemrian War Sphinx, and the Sphinx of Usef, a Necrosphinx that has anti-large and armor-piercing capabilities, as well as fire and magical damage. The front over here consists of these 4 units of Skeleton Horsemen Archers, getting some early damage into the Senegor with throwing axes, forcing them back, while the front line itself consists of these alternating Skeleton Warriors and Skeleton Spearmen, so interspersing the anti-large capabilities alongside those typical frontline fodder troops. Very decent call there. A lot of constructs here able to push in with flanking maneuvers or just charge through the front lines, as these decent enough units are able to hold the line with their melee defense and maybe some support with the Liber Mortis. At the back as well, we have King Nehesh's Scorpion Legion, the Skeleton Spearmen here, just in case anything comes flanking around, or of course able to push in as well with their anti-large and poison dealing capabilities. So let's take a look at how this all breaks down. Very interesting builds over here. A lot of mobile range capabilities on both sides of the field, and right now these Skeleton Horsemen Archers are certainly taking advantage of their mobility, moving off to the sides over here, firing away into some of these Goreherd with shields, and trying to get that nice angle so they can fire and avoid the shields. And again, we've got both armies just charging towards each other, hoping to get ideal engagements off right at the start. You can see that Hemrian War Sphinx is very deadly. As those range shots come in, that War Sphinx is going to dive right through the Goreherd with shields in the middle over here and give these guys a terrible headache. Beautiful charge over here, causing a great deal of damage, dropping the health of that unit to about, or rather by about a quarter before lines have really met. Meanwhile, over here, we've got the Sphinx of Usef diving into 2 of these Goreherd with shield units, trying to do a little bit of damage here and there as well. Again, this guy is anti-large, whereas the Hemrian War Sphinx is anti-infantry, so needing to be careful about how they're assigned. While back here, you can see the Senegor have come out of the trees and are pushing into these Skeleton Horsemen Archers, hoping to do a decent bit of damage and shut down that range support, while over here, we get a nice cast of the Purple Sun, trying to do a bit of damage into the Beastmen over here and just shut down that left flank as early as possible. Unfortunately, though, as Vortex spells are wont to do, this one just kind of veers off into the distance. Great micromanagement there, though. The Senegor with throwing axes just managed to dodge, and we have the Liber Mortis going down in that left flank, trying to keep these guys alive and fighting. Very well timed there, very well done, and in comes the first Realm of Souls, while in the center over here, you can see we've got both of these Minotaurs diving in with their great weapons against the Hemrian War Sphinx, doing a lot of damage. Look at that War Sphinx drop in health, drop in morale. Great play there, absolutely wonderfully done, and at the same time, we have some support coming in with Occam's Mind Razor. Unfortunately, though, the unit upon which it was cast is routing, so that Goreherd with shields is going to leave with that armor-piercing buff and the weapon damage buff. It was helping these Minotaurs out significantly, but unfortunately, it is on its way out, as the Senegor with throwing axes as well come in and provide some support against the War Sphinx. And take a look at the damage being dealt here. Wonderfully done. This unit is being shut down. The Tomb Blade of Arkan does come down. He's trying to pull the War Sphinx away, trying to stay alive, but unfortunately, he's taking a lot of damage, trying to replenish some health over here and pull back into some safety, diving through these Goreherd with shields here, causing some terror, trying to help out that center, while to the left over here, you can see the Skeleton Warriors are dying off, though they're managing to hold the line. At the back, meanwhile, we've got the Senegor now disengaging from those Horsemen Archers and looking for another angle of approach, trying to dive in for some rear charges and provide some support wherever possible, while these Skeleton Horsemen Archers have pulled off to the side and have been firing into the backs of the Ungor Spearman herd, doing a fair bit of damage and getting these guys to rout. So wonderfully done there with the highly mobile range support. In the center, though, you can see now the Minotaurs with great weapons are having a taste of their own medicine, basically, as the Sphinx of Usef is able to turn around and cause a severe amount of damage to those Minotaurs. Again, it is anti-large and armor-piercing, so wonderfully done there, while the Senegor are coming in for a nice rear charge into these Skeleton Spearmen here, trying to get these guys to rout, trying to get them to disintegrate, while these Skeleton Warriors here as well, very low on health, very low on morale, very, very low on morale. They are crumbling right now. So wonderfully done there with that rear charge. But you can see over here, these Minotaurs with great weapons are on their way out, while this other unit of Minotaurs with great weapons is trying to chase after the Khemerian War Sphinx over here with all these Senegor with their throwing axes, firing away at the War Sphinx as well, and ultimately getting that War Sphinx to disintegrate and die. So wonderfully done, once again, focusing in on that very threatening unit and getting rid of it as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, these Minotaurs with great weapons, as you can see, are in a terrible situation. These Chaos Spawn as well brought up to fight over here, but again, in a terrible situation, as of course, that Sphinx of Usef is anti-large, and it will do a lot of hurt over here, especially with the extra capabilities it has with magical damage and fire damage. It'll do a lot of work over here, and having Morga the Shadowgrave in the region as well is not ideal because of that fire damage. Of course, he is weak to fire, and you can see we have the Ushapti coming in as well to counter the Chaos Spawn, but they're not going to do too hot in that situation, and the Minotaurs with great weapons are anti-large again, so they're going to have a good time against the Ushapti. You can see we've got all of these Skeleton Spearmen diving in alongside these Skeleton Warriors as well. The Tomb Scorpion having a wonderful time too, beating on the Chaos Spawn, while the Minotaurs with great weapons, you can see here, absolutely taken care of by the Sphinx of Usef. So wonderfully done, and at the same time we've got the Senegor coming in with a nice rear charge again, trying to eliminate the morale of these Skeleton Spearmen. So nicely done, they're throwing those Spearmen back, and a wonderfully timed Liber Mortis over here trying to keep these guys alive, increasing their physical resistance wherever possible, trying to make sure that their low melee defense is countered by the fact that they have a little bit of extra physical resistance. And in comes the Brave Shaman of Shadows, charging through the Skeleton Warriors, charging through these Skeleton Spearmen as well, hoping to do a touch of damage here and there, and again get that disintegration going, while Morga the Shadowgrave needs to get out of this very threatening situation, as that Sphinx of Usef is very close to him, so trying to pull out into some safety, while you can see all the way to the left over here, the Skeleton Warriors still holding the line against the Ungor Spearman herd, while over here, the Senegor, chased away by the Tomb Scorpion, are now looking to push in for a nice rear charge into those very same Skeleton Warriors. The Tomb Scorpion, though, having a great time, not taking any damage, more or less, able to push around, and over here you can see we've got the Senegor with their throwing axes actually diving into melee, hoping to shut down this central Skeleton Warrior unit, as well as these Skeleton Horseman Archers. So wonderfully done there, disintegrating that unit, while to the left over here, again, we have a nice rear charge coming in, hoping to turn this crumbling into immediate disintegration and help these Ungor Spearman herd come out on top and free them up from this useless engagement. They have much better places to be. They are anti-large. They could be used against, for example, the Sphinx of Usef, though of course it's not ideal going against such a large beast. It's at least something useful they can be doing, and you can see those rear charges come in and eliminate those Skeleton Warriors basically right away. The Minotaurs with great weapons as well, trying to stay away from that Sphinx of Usef, very dangerous, while over here the Gorhor with shields are diving into battle, trying to take care of the Ushapti, the Skeleton Spearmen, and the Skeleton Warriors over here, while the Senegor with throwing axes now focusing in on the Sphinx of Usef, dropping its health significantly. Very wisely done there. You want to eliminate that unit from a distance, and Morga the Shadowgrave here in a terrible situation. The Tomb Scorpion tossing him around. We have that fiery damage from the Sphinx of Usef coming in as well. In comes the Enfeebling Foe. Very clever move there, reducing the melee attack and the melee defense of this very threatening unit in a very threatening position, as those Minotaurs with great weapons are trying to dive in as well, get a nice rear charge into these King Nehesh's Scorpion Legion, get a nice rear charge into the Skeleton Horseman Archers who are now crumbling, and also get a nice charge into the Tomb Scorpion and of course that Sphinx of Usef. Unfortunately, Morga the Shadowgrave is hit by a Spirit Leech. Very cleverly done there, reducing morale and health significantly, while off in the distance here, these Senegor with throwing axes continue to fire away at that Sphinx of Usef, hoping to take care of it from a distance. Again, they don't want to be engaged in melee, and you can see these charges coming in from the Senegor as well, eliminating more Skeleton Warriors here and there. We've got the Ungor Spearman herd here coming as well to get involved against these Skeleton Spearmen. Very nicely done here, just freeing up that flank and then pushing in very aggressively, while these Senegor with their throwing axes again diving in and chasing after the Sphinx of Usef, who is in turn chasing after Morga the Shadowgrave, hoping to take care of Beastmen leadership, and managing to do just that, tossing Morgar back, allowing him to run away, while we have over here the Minotaurs with great weapons diving in. A rather risky maneuver there. The Liber Mortis is active as well, and the Enfeebling Foe is there too, but that will wear out pretty soon, and the Liber Mortis will remain active, and you can see over here these Minotaurs with great weapons are having a terrible time. Back here, meanwhile, we have these Skeleton Spearmen charged by the Senegor with their throwing axes, hoping to eliminate the anti-large threat over there, while the Sphinx of Usef, again, at half health now, so it has been eating a lot of damage from those throwing axes. The Gore Herd with shield as well, diving in, I think, hoping to hold it in place, while the Gore Herd with shields over here diving into the Skeleton Spearman again, trying to get these guys to crumble and give up, while the Sphinx dives in from the side and gets a nice charge in, does a fair bit of damage, while those Senegor with their throwing axes continue to fire their axes away, try to chip away at the stone of the Sphinx of Usef, hope it drops, but unfortunately that's not working quickly enough, and those guys are clumped up in a very dangerous situation. You can see these Minotaurs with weapons have given up on the fight. We've got these Gore Herd with shields giving up on the fight as well. A lot of routes along all of the Beastmen units. We have the Spirit Leech going down on the Bray Shaman of Shadows once again as well, reducing health and morale. And you can see in the center here, the Sphinx of Usef is in a bit of a tight spot as the Senegor are nicely spread apart. They're throwing axes coming in from various directions, though these guys have been hit by the Tomb Scorpion. They have to get out of that very precarious situation, and off in the distance here, very nicely done. I have to say the Beastmen are pulling back, and they're trying to form up once again. Of course, the Bray Shaman of Shadows is able to encourage nearby troops. These guys are relatively low on morale, they're very low on health, so it's a good idea to line up and stay safe as some of these units are beginning to crumble and die off. If you can wait for these units to crumble and die and then get engaged, especially if the Sphinx of Usef gets taken care of, that's a great idea, because again, that's probably the most threatening unit, apart from Archon the Black. That's probably the most threatening unit on the field from the Tomb Kings right now. And you can see the Senegor with throwing axes over here. They do get charged by the Tomb Scorpion as well as the Sphinx there, so not an ideal situation, but they're able to pull away into safety. And as they fire away, you can see as well, we've got the Sphinx now in critical binding, very close to crumbling, trying to pull back into safety, getting that encouragement from Archon, trying to stay safe and alive, and you can see just barely able to get out of there. And of course, anytime that Sphinx charges, that morale is going to come back up, but very low on health right now and very low on morale. And you can see the Senegor with their throwing axes trying to take advantage of that low morale, firing away, trying to bait some charges here and there. The Tomb Scorpion coming in as well. A terrible time for the Senegor with throwing axes. In comes that Sphinx, and a nice hit there. These guys have to pull back into safety so they don't get completely wrecked. And back here as well, you can see trying to stay safe and steer clear of these Skeleton Spearmen as they're slowly crumbling away. Unfortunately, the Tomb Scorpion over there able to catch some of these guys and cause a fair bit of damage, but that range fire continues to come in, and again, just trying to drop that Sphinx of Usef, focusing on that Sphinx of Usef, the most threatening unit, I would say, right now from the Tomb Kings. And over here, we've got Archon using the Staff of Nagash to try and keep active as well, while off in the distance, you can see the Bray Shaman has been hit by the Spirit Leech once more, again, reducing health and morale, getting him to rout, and you can see we've got those Minotaurs with great weapons giving up on the fight, turning around and leaving, and that's not going to be good for morale across the field, while over here, the Sphinx as well, crumbling now, very close to dying off, very close to giving up, trying to stay safe, trying to stay alive, but off in the distance, the morale is just dropping, especially as that Bray Shaman leaves the field. You can see the Beastmen are giving up on the fight, and unfortunately, despite their best efforts, the Beastmen suffer a valiant defeat. Now, when that War Sphinx went down, the Tomb Kings might have had second thoughts about their chances, but the Beastmen's lack of anti-large infantry focusing against the Necrosphinx Regiment of Renown meant it lasted till the end of the battle. At the end, the Senegor could do nothing but throw axes and hope to chip away at the construct, but as they ran out of ammo, it became clear that no matter how close they came to destroying the thing, they had to give up against the Tomb Kings. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep sending in those battle replays. I do think it's one of the best ways to learn, and it's always nice to highlight such amazing battles from the community. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.